Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville, fiber internet, streaming TV, home security, and automation in southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. State lawmakers meet at the State House for the ceremonial start of the 2019 legislative session. They won't start voting on bills until January, but the legislative agenda is already being set. Statehouse reporter Brandon Smith joins us to preview the legislative agenda.
It's a popular plant because of just how quickly it grows, but that can also pose some problems. Coming up, we take a look at why some cities and states are actually regulating bamboo.
One Indiana school system is looking into how to manage student disciplinary problems before serving out punishment. They're called Amygdala Rooms, and they help students deal with their emotions before they get out of hand.
We're starting to recognize that behavior is some sort of communication. They're trying to tell us something.
Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Lawmakers are just about a month away from voting on bills as part of the 2019 legislative session. Statehouse reporter Brandon Smith joins us now to talk about what we can expect out of the legislature next year. Hello, Brandon. First off, legislative work really hasn't kicked off yet, but lawmakers did meet last week to address the General Assembly's policies against sexual harassment. Now, can you briefly explain the backstory behind the policy change and then what lawmakers are working on to deal with this issue?
Sure. Well, this came out of legislation from last session where they were mandated, the legislature mandated that they themselves create a sexual harassment policy because one existed for staff, there's one that exists for like lobbyists, but none that really existed in a concrete form for lawmakers themselves. So what happened last week was legislative leaders kind of recommended the framework of the policy, but the real nitty-gritty detail work is still to be done. Things like how lawmakers are going to be punished, how it's going to be investigated, that sort of thing. And then that work will happen before the General Assembly fully votes on the rules in the next month or so.
So, Brennan, one big piece of legislation in 2019 would be addressing Indiana's lack of hate crime laws, and one of only 5 states without such laws. Lawmakers, both parties pushing to get some laws on the books. How likely are we to see hate crime legislation passed in Indiana this year?
In my personal opinion, I don't really think it's all that likely. This debate has been going on for several years and really significantly in the last 3 sessions where bills have actually progressively been doing worse each session. One passed all the way through the Senate and then only through a committee and then not even through that committee last session. The debate really hasn't changed much. The factions on either side haven't really changed that much. This year, the governor is standing behind that effort. It's going to be on his agenda, so that obviously helps, but I still don't think it's likely it'll pass.
Increasing teacher pay does seem to be an area where there is some consensus across the aisle, so what might prevent legislators from raising teacher pay this session?
Honestly, I don't see much preventing that sort of thing from happening this session. As you mentioned, lawmakers of both parties, all 4 caucuses seem dedicated to the idea of raising teacher salaries. And most importantly, while they haven't fully fleshed out the details of their plan yet, Speaker Brian Bosma kind of teased it a little bit and said that they're not planning to spend new dollars to do it. They're gonna raise salaries within current education dollars to just direct more dollars to the classroom to those salaries. So I'd be pretty surprised if that doesn't get done.
And Brandon, the budget this year is tighter than it has been in recent years, and a lot has to do with getting more money to the state's underfunded Department of Child Services. What changes are lawmakers hoping to do with the extra funding?
Well, Mostly the funding itself is going to salaries, it's going to hiring new workers and retaining the old ones. That's where the money specifically is going to go.
Okay, Brandon, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
An increasing number of cities and states are adopting regulations for the sale and planting of bamboo. Certain types of the popular plant can quickly spread to neighboring properties, but as Barbara Brosier reports, there's nothing to stop Hoosiers from planting the invasive species most commonly found here.
Brandy Host lives in the middle of Bloomington.
That's Laverne. She's the last of the living chickens.
But you'd never know once you step into her backyard.
Birds really like it. There are a lot of birds.
Her property is lined with bamboo, a natural fence that she enjoys because of the privacy it provides.
I think it's a really good sound insulator too. I don't hear anybody back here. It's mostly residential.
But when she bought the house a few years ago, Host had no idea the maintenance this yard would require.
The previous homeowner's wife said to me at the closing, asked me if I owned a truck, and I said I didn't, and she giggled. She was like, well, good luck, you know, and because she knew.
She has to clear a large portion of the bamboo once a year, and it takes 2 truckloads to haul it away.
Stopping it is next to impossible without major excavation work, and so what I'm trying to do is just maintain and control it more than anything.
It's not easy. Just ask Dave Seastrom.
As soon as I got it in the ground, I started realizing what a tremendously invasive plant this is.
He planted this patch of bamboo on his secluded Unionville property about 20 years ago. Seastrom likes that the shoots provide shelter for wildlife and also dries them out to use for various projects. But keeping the bamboo patch from overtaking the yard is a lot of work.
So here's the trench, and it's full of leaves right now.
In addition to digging the trench, he put a plastic barrier in the ground to keep the bamboo from spreading.
As long as I'm here, I think this is contained, but I'm very concerned about the reality that one day I won't be here. And it would be tremendously irresponsible if this bamboo got loose in the forest.
This is the type of bamboo that's most common in Indiana. It's called yellow groove bamboo. And what makes it so tricky is it's a running bamboo. I'm going to show you what that means. If we take a look down here, there's been a trench dug so you can see these rhizomes, essentially roots, and they spread horizontally. That means a fence, which might protect your yard from other plants, will not protect bamboo from sprouting up over here.
You're not planting it in your yard, you're planting it in the county because it will not stop at your boundary. It will head onto your neighbors and onto their neighbors. It's very difficult to keep it from moving and keep it in one place.
Yellow groove bamboo is actually an invasive species. Its ability to spread can lead to disputes between neighbors and even cause property damage. So some other states and cities have adopted regulations for bamboo planting. There aren't any in Indiana, but the state's Natural Resources Commission did preliminarily adopt a measure earlier this year that would make it illegal to sell, transport, or distribute more than 40 invasive plants in the state.
While bamboo isn't on it, I think that in the future we're going to be looking at evaluating it and seeing if we can add that to the highly invasive list for Indiana.
As Host looks at the bamboo she struggles to contain, she stops short of saying it needs to be regulated.
I'm afraid to say that it needs to be governed, but come with a warning label maybe.
And Seastrom supposes rules dictating what people can grow on their own property are unlikely to gain traction in a more conservative state like Indiana. But his battle with bamboo may soon be coming to an end.
My wife has been bugging me to take the leap and eradicate this patch. So that's probably next on the agenda.
Just how much work that will take is something he tries not to think about. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brosier.
Now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brosier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Terre Haute City Councilman Karam Nasser announced he's running for the Democratic nomination for mayor in next year's primary. He says Terre Haute needs a new voice, new vision, and a fresh start.
I've always been dumbfounded that our leadership struggles to admit faults, to be afraid to ask for help. I think that's very humble coming from our leadership because everybody's human.
Nasser is still serving his first term as councilman from the 3rd District. Republican Mayor Duke Bennett says he'll make an announcement soon on whether he'll run for re-election. Bennett won his 3rd term for mayor by just more than 300 votes in 2015. Roads in Indiana are among the worst in the nation, according to a company using crowdsourced data to evaluate road conditions. Level 5 collects video footage of roads from people using their phone app. Of the 37 states included in the survey, Indiana came in as the 3rd worst. An Indiana Department of Transportation official says they check all state-mandated roads every year with infrared scans, which are more detailed than crowdsourced data. An American Society of Civil Engineers report from last year says 8% of Indiana's roads are in poor condition. Access to health care is a challenge in many of Indiana's rural communities. A new program at a Greene County school district aims to change that. As Brock Turner reports, it connects students with doctors without having to leave school.
White River Valley Schools sits in a predominantly rural area in Greene County. Over half of the students here are on free and reduced lunch. The district is partnering with the Indiana Rural Health Association and the Greene County General Hospital to start offering telehealth services at its elementary school. The program is meant to enhance services the school nurse already provides. Until now, Jessica Aganoff was without equipment to do even routine screenings like looking in a student's ears. And that equipment is now connected to the internet, allowing her to communicate with doctors who can diagnose a student from miles away.
She does have an otoscope now, so she'll be able to look into their ear and see, is this something that we think a doctor needs to look at or not? And then she would contact the parent and the physician can look right on the screen and see those same images that she's seeing and, make that diagnosis.
Bob Hacker is the school's superintendent. He says the program will help students stay in class and save their parents from having to leave work unnecessarily.
We have 3 small towns. Our free and reduced lunch percentages are running just over 60% in all 3 of our buildings, and so right away the poverty-based situation makes us a viable candidate for the program.
Hacker says the equipment to implement the program costs upwards of $20,000 and is funded by a grant. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
It's not too late to take advantage of higher rates for net metering in Indiana. The state moved to phase down credits for solar customers who deliver excess energy to the grid, but those higher retail rates haven't expired yet. The state passed a law to lower net metering rates last year. Representatives from Solarize East Central Indiana say they think many people don't know those higher retail rates are still available. Hoosiers who install solar panels before July 1st, 2022 can get the net metering at the retail rate through July 1st, 2032. And Joe, we are seeing a lot more solar panels, it seems, go up here around Bloomington. A lot of neighborhoods are full of them.
Barbara, thank you very much. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. When kids act out in the classroom, it often ends in some form of punishment. But educators in Daviess County say they're working with a professor at Butler University to address behavioral issues before they become a problem. And an Indiana man's civil forfeiture case goes before the Supreme Court. The outcome could help limit confiscations by local law enforcement of property belonging to those suspected of committing a crime. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing
for insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the Senate.
You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Well, for the first time in DePaul University history, faculty members approved a vote of no confidence in the university's chief executive. As Becca Costello reports, the Board of Trustees is standing behind University President Mark McCoy.
The private liberal arts college in Greencastle has about 2,000 students and just over 260 faculty members. The vote of no confidence in President McCoy is the latest in a series of tense public discourse about various controversies, including a series of threatening racist messages found on campus. The faculty who recently voted for the proposal also cite concerns about financial stability and cutbacks to employee health coverage. The vote itself is mostly symbolic.
But what this lets the trustees know is that the faculty are very concerned about the ability of the president to be our leader.
About 31% of faculty members voted to approve the measure. Another 24% abstained, while publicly stating they have concerns with leadership. 22% opposed the vote of no confidence. Special advisor to the president, Ken Owen, said in a statement the president is carrying out changes the Board of Trustees has asked him to make, like cutting costs and investing more in the student experience. And the trustees are maintaining their support. They sent a letter to faculty saying the vote is unwarranted and they remain confident in McCoy's ability to lead. Brooks says he's encouraged by the trustees' offer to work more closely with faculty.
There's plenty of opportunity for all of us to move forward together and just look back on this incident and say, well, it was something just brought to light a problem.
But not everyone shares his optimism. The rationale for the vote of no confidence says his continuation as president threatens the reputation of the university and severely compromises the institution's viability. And a letter signed by 22 student groups in October says President McCoy has failed students of color and used oppressive tactics on both students and faculty. They conclude, this is not the DePaul we were promised. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Becca Costello.
The Board of Trustees wants to have a forum between faculty, administration, and trustees to discuss concerns. That forum hasn't been scheduled. The U.S. Supreme Court will rule on an Indiana civil forfeiture case by June. The court heard arguments this week in the case involving Marion resident Tyson Timms. Now, Timms claims police violated his rights by seizing his Land Rover worth more than $40,000 because he used the car to transport drugs he sold for a few $100s. Reporter Barbara Brozier has been following this case. Barbara, thank you for joining us for a little bit more on this. So what is Timms asking here for the Supreme Court to decide?
So his attorneys argue that when police seized his vehicle, that was disproportionate to the crime that he committed. They say that's a violation of the 8th Amendment's excessive fines clause. Now, here's where it gets tricky. When the Indiana Supreme Court heard this case, their ruling said the U.S. Supreme Court never stipulated that that excessive fines clause actually applies to the states. So that's what they're asking the Supreme Court to weigh in on here. And all indications are, by statements some of the justices made, that there's a pretty good chance they could rule in Timms's favor. Justice Neil Gorsuch, for example, said he couldn't believe here we are, 2018, and the state's inspector general was arguing that some provisions in the Bill of Rights don't apply to the states.
So will this ruling impact whether or not Timms can get his Land Rover back?
It will impact that, but it doesn't mean if they rule in his favor that he'll necessarily get the car back right away. Timms's attorneys tell me that in that situation, if they get the favorable ruling, that this case will likely then go back to the Indiana Supreme Court. They'll know that the excessive fines clause does apply to states, and they'll argue the case once again, saying that this seizure was really out of line for the low-level offense he committed.
Now, this isn't the only challenge to Indiana's forfeiture law, though, right?
That's exactly right, Joe. Just last month, the state Supreme Court heard another case out of Marion County, and that case challenges what happens with money from these civil forfeitures. In many cases, police and prosecutors keep the money from forfeitures, any proceeds they have from selling those items. And the people in that case argue that that violates the state's constitution. That's because there's a provision in the state constitution that says any fines and forfeitures that are the result of someone breaking a state law should go to the common school fund. And these people say that's really not happening. A lot of police and prosecutors are simply keeping the money for themselves. They have not ruled on that case yet, though, Joe.
Very interesting. And you've been doing a lot of reporting on this,
Yes.
and we'll probably a lot more to come.
Yes, we'll be following this story as both of these cases develop in the coming months.
All right. Thank you very much, Barbara. Elementary schools in Davies County have implemented Amygdala reset rooms to help curb kids' disciplinary problems before handing out punishments. Aptly named, the amygdala is part of your brain that tells you to be afraid of something, and it controls how you react to things that are threatening. As WFIU's Emma Atkinson reports, Davies County teachers are learning that kids behave the way they do because of how they feel.
The Amygdala Reset Room at Helen Griffith Elementary School is a kid's dream. It's quiet, dimly lit, and filled with toys to tinker with. There's all kinds of stuff, exercise bikes, yoga mats, magnetic building blocks, and kinetic sand.
And then over here is our bubble machine, and the kids really like this chair.
Kelly Miller is a social worker for Washington Community Schools. The kids love the rooms, and the rooms are good for the kids. They serve as an alternative to more traditional forms of discipline. The rooms are meant to be a place for students who are struggling to go and calm down.
So if they're becoming upset in the classroom or at their desk and the teacher can't seem to get them regulated in the room, then this just gives them a place to go where they can work with their teacher privately without the other students there, so that they can have their needs met.
Miller says using the rooms means understanding that not all kids have the same needs when it comes to dealing with behavioral problems.
Dr. Lori says a lot of times we discipline the kids who need it the least, and so we are using this instead of a punishment.
Dr. Lori is Dr. Lori Desitel, a child counselor and assistant professor of education at Butler University. She coined the term Amygdala Reset Room, a reference to the part of the brain that processes emotion.
Because they're creating a space in their school, and they are also preparing their educators to understand how to use that space. That space is used as a procedure.
Using Desitel's approach, Miller worked to set up 5 Amygdala Reset Rooms in elementary schools across Davies County. Some schools, like Helen Griffith Elementary, have made an entire room into a reset area. Others have devoted a corner or two to some plush armchairs, books about mindfulness, and things to fiddle with.
We're starting to recognize that behavior is some sort of communication. They're trying to tell us something.
At noon, in the Amygdala Reset Room at Griffith, stars dance across the ceiling. It's bright outside, but the shades are drawn, and a light projector rotates slowly around. The noise machine hums. Thunder. It's an indoor rainstorm, or at least it sounds like one. It doesn't feel like you're in an elementary school, and it certainly doesn't feel like you're in detention. And Miller says students here embrace it because they know it's not a punishment. They haven't been bad. Dr. Desitel has authored 2 books on neuroscience and education and travels around the country to give talks on her teaching philosophy. In a community center in Washington, she asks teachers and administrators from neighboring districts to consider what it takes to help a student feel comfortable and safe in the classroom.
A child needs to feel safe to learn, and a child needs to feel felt to learn.
Desitel says the key to understanding kids' behavior at school is recognizing how the child's home and family life could be contributing. Research shows that chaos at home often leads to disruptive behavior at school.
We are seeing more and more children and adolescents who are walking into our schools and our classrooms and districts with significant, what has been termed as adverse childhood experiences.
Adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, can be anything from experiencing serious emotional or physical abuse to watching parents get divorced. 1 or 2 ACEs don't have many lasting psychological effects, Desitel says, but go any higher and things start to change.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 adversities can literally change perception. It changes, it reprograms our stress response systems. It changes behavior. It changes the way we see life.
Studies have shown that as the number of ACEs increases, so does the risk for poor academic achievement or work performance later on in life. The high levels of stress associated with multiple ACEs can have a negative physiological effect too.
That brain has become wired in a survival brain state.
So the purpose of the Amygdala Rooms is not just to improve students' time in elementary school. It's meant to set them up for success later in life, to rewire their brains again. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Emma Atkinson.
And Kokomo City leaders are opening a new winter attraction this season that they hope will become a holiday tradition. Workers are assembling a 60 by 90 foot ice skating rink on Municipal Stadium's field. Mayor Greg Goodnight says it's probably been about 20 years since the public had a place to ice skate in the city.
Whole idea is to kind of add something, an amenity for people to enjoy during the holidays and over the winter season, make use of the stadium.
The rink will open from December 5th through mid-January. Goodnight says most of the revenue will go to Bridges Outreach, a non-for-profit that organizes after-school mentoring projects. Municipal Stadium opened in 2015. The Kokomo Jackrabbits and IU Kokomo's baseball team used the field. Goodnight says the school plans to add a women's soccer team, which will also play at the stadium. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Mallard Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis, lawmg.com. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching in Indiana and around the world. education.indiana.edu. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.